Howdy, Kimbers. It's me. I just took a bite of avocado. Anyway, um, I just got the chance to watch Ender's Game. And I gotta say, it's not a bad movie. However, the book is still better. And that just isn't because I'm a very vigorous reader. Ender's Game is one of my favorite favorite books of all time. And I've been keeping track of and really wanting the movie to be made for over a decade, I think now, or almost a decade. And so when Orson Scott Card first conceived of the idea to make it into a movie, I've been following it since then. And so I was really excited that it finally got, bought as an option and finally got made and everything. And I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater because at the time I still didn't have a job and I didn't have the money to go see it. If it had come out now, it would be boom, opening night if I could. If I wasn't working, I'd be there. But I got to see it online, and I gotta say the acting was phenomenal. The special effects and everything were good. The way that they segmented and left some parts out of the storyline was okay. But they changed a lot of things. And some of the things that they changed were like, if you ever read the book, they're really important. Like, they changed Ender's age. They made his middle name Ender, which was, his middle name was never Ender in as far as I can remember in the book. It was always Andrew Wiggin. Ender was his nickname from his sister. And they kept some parts in. They left a lot of parts out. They changed other things around. And it made for a really weird thing. Because if you've read the book as much as I have, and you really, really love it, and you see it on the screen, and you see so much. I mean, 95% of the movie was lifted directly from the book. Some of the dialogue, characters, of course, the way that things were in battle school, all that stuff was the same. But the things that they did change are so jarring for the people who've actually read the book and pictured it the way that the author wrote it, that it was hard to get into. It's like, and I'm not giving anything away. If you've watched the movie, you've pretty much got the gist of the book. So, I'm not giving anything away, but in the book, Ender is like 6. He's like 6 years old when he gets taken to battle school. That fight where he like decimates the other kid was between 2 6-year-olds. And the original 6-year-old was called Bernard, if I remember correctly. No, Bernard was not the name of the kid. It was something else. I can't remember. Stetson, I want to say. Anyway, it's been a couple of years since I've actually read the book, but he kills the kid. He kills the other 6-year-old. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. He didn't purposely set out to kill him. He purposely set out to end the fight once and for all. Win the war, basically. The same way he kept kicking in the movie, he kept the fight going until he completely decimated the other kid. Just happened to have ended up killing him. And he never found out until way later, like at the end of the book. He didn't really find out. So then he goes to battle school, and the same isolation that that Graf did in the movie, you know, Harrison Ford's character, did in the movie with pointing out he's the best and all that stuff and keeping him isolated, that's the same. However, they did that to a 6-year-old. And I'm sorry, by the time the kids are of the age that the main character in the movie is, they've already pretty much formed their personalities with some, you know, fine edging and stuff like that and life experience to add to it. But they've pretty much, you know, have already set up some stuff. When you get them at 6 and you start the isolation, you start forming them that way, it's much more dramatic, much more damaging on a psyche. So, like, that whole battle school sequence, and they skipped a lot of battle school, by the way. That whole battle school sequence was over the series of years. From the time Ender was like 6 to I think the time he was like 9 or 10. That whole sequence. So, like, at 6 he got promoted. No, I think it was 7. Might have been 6. But anyway, he gets, within the first year, he gets promoted to Salamander Army. That whole Salamander scenario where Bozo Madrid tells him not to go into the battle and all that stuff, that all really did happen in the book. However, imagine a 12-year-old, you know, because all the battle school kids were under the age of 16. So imagine like a 14 to 12-year-old kid acting like the Bozo character. They call him Bozo, sorry. Imagine him acting like that when he looks like the actual Ender actor. You know, stuff like that. It like I said, it was very jarring. Like, Petra doesn't look anything like what I imagined her to look like. But then again, that's just casting. She acted the same. But all the characters were older. And it just... I realized that they had to, because a lot of people would be upset if 6-year-olds started firing guns at each other and stuff like that. But it's just... that's why I said you have to read the book. You have to read the book. At least the first one. Peter and Valentine play a much bigger role in shaping what happens to Ender. Not only his personality, but what ends up happening to him at the end of the book and into the series. Because, and they don't cover this at all, but Peter and Valentine become big time politicians. Especially Peter. He becomes basically the hegemon, you know, the guy that was there to watch Ender at the end of the movie. He was watching the big battle at the end, the big to-do guy, the one that Graf had to, like, follow the orders of. His boss. That's who Peter becomes. And he does this before Ender even leaves Earth at the end of the book. And Peter's only, like, I think 3 years, maybe 4 years older than Ender. So, like, Peter accomplishes becoming basically the ruler of the known world within 18 years of his 18 years, basically. So, like, there's huge things. And the whole, like, learning about Speakers of the Dead's traditions and stuff. Yeah. He becomes the Speaker of the Dead. In fact, that's the next book. But, if I can't remember, but I don't think the teacher dude, I don't think it was him that gave him the idea. I'd have to reread the book, but that just didn't seem like it fit to me. If I remember correctly, I think it's something that him and Valentine came up with, because, I'm sorry, that's another thing that was massively different. Valentine went with him, because in the book, traveling, because that's why they're showing him sleeping in, like, that electronic thing, traveling from point A to point B is at faster than light, or at light, and when you get the closer you get to light speed, the slower time is around you. So, traveling from Earth to, say, the alien homeworld at the technology that they had at the current time that Ender left would take years. So they would be put in, like, in the book they didn't have to be put in sleeper cells or anything like that, but time would slow down inside the ship. And so when they came back, you know, people would be aged or things would be different, but they would be the same. That's how the hero from the last war was able to survive to teach all of these people, is because they kept him up, basically orbiting nearby at light speed or faster than light speed, so that when he would come back down to teach the people, he wouldn't have aged very much. It's like I said, you gotta read the book. Gotta read the book. Movie's good. The movie's good. If you liked the movie, you're gonna love the book. You're gonna start reading and go, oh, this was in the movie, but you're gonna miss a lot. And the whole series is fantastic. The two biggest changes that they made to the movie and the characters, besides ages, is that Bean was not in Ender's launch. Bean was a launchy in his army when he got the dragons. That is the biggest change, and I think the worst one that they made in the entire movie, because Bean is supposed to be about 4 or 5 years younger than Ender, and basically if Ender hadn't had been who he was, Bean would have been the next best thing. And they kind of hint at that in the first book. I haven't read the entire series yet, so I haven't read Ender's Shadow or anything, but they hint that Bean would have been the next candidate if they had enough time. That's another thing that they did keep that is correct. They don't explain a whole lot in the book. Each of those battles that you see him fight in the training sequence were actual battles. The entire thing was actual battles in the book, not just the ending one. In the movie, they make it seem like the only one that was real was the last one, when in actuality the whole thing was real in the book. Also, in the book, the main weapon, the Doctor, which I believe they called it the Little Doctor in the book, what it did was really kind of cool. It was a gravity weapon. It wasn't a particle weapon like in the movie. It was a gravity weapon, and you take the way Ender did it in the movie is a lot like what he did it in the book, except for the different type of weapon. The gravity weapon in the book, he went and slammed it into the planet. It went, and then it went. And so the whole bugger, that's what they called them in the book, the whole bugger fleet chain reacted because it went outwards and hit them, and then pulled all the matter back in and formed a new planet out of it, which they actually do colonize. The humans colonize it later in the book, because actually that's where the end of the book comes from, is that Ender was tired of war. He was promoted to admiral, or something like that, and him and a few other people decided they wanted to go colonize the old bugger homeworld. So they went there, and that's when he saw the things from the mind game, and he discovered the queen that had been hibernating, waiting for him to find her, so that he could make up for his naive mistake, because they didn't hold it against him, which is really funny because of the way they treat him in the movie. But the aliens knew. They had seen his memory in all of the years that he was in battle school, which is another reason why I think they did a disservice to the book in the movie. But into all the years that he was being trained and formed and mistreated and manipulated, they saw everything from his memories, his subconscious, his eyes. So they knew that what happened to them as a people was not his fault, that the guilt that he held was not his fault, and they gave him a way to absolve himself of his guilt and show that they were peaceful people. The whole thing, he actually saw the memories of the last queen, because the egg queen was communicating with him. And so she showed him that the queen that they had sent to Earth originally was not the same kind. In fact, that the queens had been slowly killing off the hostile ones, so that the DNA, the genetics, and the empathy of the one that ended up being left behind was peaceful like his sister, which is why they used her as a symbol for the egg. Because, as they say in the book and in the movie, Valentine had too much empathy to make it into battle school. She was too much of a peacemaker. So, yeah, like I said, the movie was good, but there's so many. The book has so much more. So it's kind of like how I stopped watching the Harry Potter series after the fourth one, because they changed so many things that are huge when you look at the whole picture of the series, and you've read them, that changing even one thing just kind of unravels the whole thing. So I'm interested. I would be interested to see if they even thought about making another one and where they're going to go from here, because yeah, they left a lot of stuff out. And I've read part of the second book. Like I said, I haven't read the series, but I read part of the second book, and there's some really weird stuff and concepts and a whole religion that pops up. And just like, I'm not going to say too much, but like, there's this whole thing that, with the way that they wrote the first movie, would be a little weird to explain, because there's like a time jump between books. So, I mean, if I remember correctly, one of the few scenes, no, not few scenes, one of the few memories that you get right in the beginning of the first book is about Peter dying of old age. Like I said, there's a huge time jump. So it's like, are they going to go in the way the order they were published in, if they were going to do more of the books? Or are they going to go and skip around because Orson Scott Card did write Shadow of the Hedgeman, I think it is, and that's all from Peter's point of view. So it'd be interesting to see how they accomplish it. Like I said, it would be interesting to see what they come up with if they were planning to continue the movie series, or if they were going to deviate well away from the books. Because from what I understand, True Blood has done that. They've deviated so far from the books that, yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to really make a video about, was Ender's Game. So, hope you guys are having a great day, and considering it's Monday. And I will talk at you later.